Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty big piece of news here that we want to get to, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, yesterday, we actually did a live about this where we talked about this news, but today I had some other thoughts that I wanted to express in this particular show, so we said, why not produce a show and talk about it? Now, yesterday I was just there getting ready to watch the Clippers versus Charlotte Hornets game. And then all of a sudden I got a notification on my phone from ESPN just to hear that Nike has officially severed ties with Kyrie Irving. And as a matter of fact, what we want to do is want to read from that article. We have a few articles here that we'd like to read from, but I want to start with this one. Now, basically, the article starts off with the headline, Nike officially terminates partnership with Kyrie Irving. After initially suspending its partnership with Kyrie Irving and scrapping the release of his upcoming Kyrie 8 signature shoe last month, Nike confirmed Monday that it has fully cut ties with the Brooklyn Nets point guard. Kyrie is no longer a Nike athlete, a Nike company spokesperson told ESPN. Irving's agent, Riley Irving, called the decision mutually. We have mutually decided to part ways and wish Nike the best in the future endeavors, she told CNBC on Monday. Irving's signature endorsement agreement with the company was set to expire on October 1st, 2023. The deal was abruptly suspended 11 months before expiring after Irving posted a link on social media to a book and movie containing an anti-Semitic messaging. Kyrie stepped over the line. It's kind of that simple, Nike co-founder Phil Knight told CNBC on November 10th. He made some statements that we just can't abide by, and that's why we are ending the relationship. I was fine with that. So the article also continues on. Around 68% of the NBA wears Nike sneakers, in games. And each season since the launch of the Kyrie 1, the annual Kyrie model had become one of the most worn shoes across the league. To date, 164 players had worn the Kyrie 7 in games, according to data from kickstats.com. Dozens of players often wear the lower price Kyrie low model as well, with others also rotating between past years models. So you heard what that article had to say there. We have another one that we want to read, again from ESPN, and we actually want to read the statements that the CEO of Amazon had to make. And basically, the article starts off with the headline, Amazon CEO, no plans to stop selling anti-Semitic film as center of Kyrie Irving's suspension. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said Wednesday the company does not have any plans to stop selling the film that gained notoriety recently after Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving tweeted it out an Amazon link. At the New York Times Deal Book Summit in New York City, Jassy said it's difficult for the company to determine what content crosses the line to where Amazon doesn't make it available to customers. As a retailer of content to hundreds of millions of customers with a lot of different viewpoints, we have to allow access to those viewpoints, even if they are objectionable, and they differ from our particular views. The Times quoted Jassy by saying, so first of all, it looks like what Kyrie Irving has done has cost him dearly. And I have a few thoughts about this. The first thing is this. I'm trying to understand exactly what caused Nike to drop him. Was it the fact that he posted that link and he shared it? Or was it because of what he said after he posted the link? If it was because of what he said after he posted the link, then what specifically did he say that made them come to the conclusion that they needed to sever their relationship with him? What's the specific thing he pointed to? He said, if it was about the link, then about him posting the link, then how does Amazon get to basically walk scot-free and not incur any of this backlash that Kyrie Irving seemed to get all by him, that fell solely upon his shoulders? Another thing worth mentioning is this. When the drama or the controversy reached its fever pitch, what ended up happening? The Brooklyn Nets decided that they were going to suspend Kyrie Irving for a minimum of 5 games without pay. He ended up missing 8 games. They then gave him a 6-step outline that he needed to follow. One of them meaning he had to pay $500,000, meet with this group, meet with that group, demonstrate sensitivity, demonstrate that he understands, all of these different things. So at the end of all of that, after he jumped through all of those hoops, at the end of it, it seems like he still lost everything anyway. So him going through all of those procedures that we don't particularly know exactly what he did, what benefit did it give him apart from allowing him to come back to the team and continue to play back? Was that just all it was able to accomplish? And after Nike saw Kyrie Irving go through this process, even to the point where Adam, the commissioner of the NBA, said, no, I don't believe Kyrie Irving is a hateful person. The Brooklyn Nets said they were very pleased with all of this, with all of the work that he did to get back on the court. Wouldn't that have made Nike change his position on Kyrie Irving? Did they still feel, that they needed to end that relationship? And to me, it leaves Kyrie Irving in a very precarious position, because now it's like he's on the last year of his deal with the Brooklyn Nets. He's going to be looking for another team to pick him up after this season. Obviously, a player with that type of talent is going to be very easy for him to get another deal. But based on the way he's kind of been stigmatized in the media, we're going to have to wait and see if that's going to have an effect on him, in terms of gaining future employment in the future. But now he doesn't have another shoe. He doesn't have a shoe deal in sight. And to add insult to injury, guess the player that is going to be replacing Kyrie Irving for Nike. That player is Ja Morant. According to a recent Bleacher Report article that we want to quickly touch on, it says this: Ja Morant to receive signature shoe after Kyrie Irving's exit. Ja Morant is getting his signature shoe. Nike reportedly will be working with the Memphis Grizzlies star point guard on a signature line of sneakers after dropping Kyrie Irving on Monday. According to a report from Shams Charania of the Athletic Stadium, Shams said, Memphis Grizzly All-Star Ja Morant is in line to receive a new signature shoe at Nike in the near future, industry sources tell the Athletic Stadium. The parties have been working on this for several months. So it seems as if Nike already has its replacement, and Kyrie Irving has pretty much been ushered out the back door. So the question is, where do we go from here? I think the biggest lesson, not to make this show long here, I think the biggest lesson and the biggest takeaway is simply this. For those that feel like, they don't like what Nike did, they feel like we need to, do this and do that. The biggest takeaway in all of this is ownership or the lack thereof. You're beginning to see the difference in where real power lies. A lot of people feel like, oh, because I have a lot of money, I have power. No, you don't. Those that have power are those that own the infrastructure. Those are the ones that have power. Kyrie and people like him are essentially extremely high paid employees. That's what they are. Those that are in position of ownership to be able to control things, to drop people, pick them up, hire this guy, fire this guy, those are the ones with real power. So for the people that feel like, okay, we want to boycott this, boycott that, that's not enough. There needs to be alternatives put in place for people to channel their money to. It's not just enough to boycott, because the fact of the matter is, if people decide to boycott, what's going to end up happening? They're still going to end up spending those dollars on something else. And most likely, they're going to be spending it on brands they don't own. Until we solve the ownership question, until we solve that, that's when you start to see quote unquote liberation, quote unquote. If you don't own anything, you don't control anything, you're going to always be left with my last resort. Well, I'm going to boycott. How long? How many decades are we going to be boycotting? How many? I think it's time there's a shift from we're not going to spend money here to start owning things and creating businesses. Real one. There needs to be a literal shift in the way many of us view life. We're fantastic at being consumers. We're lousy at being owners. And to be in the United States with all of those opportunities, with the infrastructure already there, we talked about this yesterday in our live. Yeah, the infrastructure is already there. The infrastructure is already there. You say the opportunities may be a little bit difficult because of the competition. Trust me, there are others in different countries that would like to be in your position, in your seat, to take advantage of the opportunities and go against the competition. It's there, right? But there needs to be a shift. Right? When I look at us, we spend money on all the wrong things that add absolutely no value to you. Zero. if you have 10K, 20K in the bank, please don't waste it on a chain. That adds nothing to you or anybody around you. That you don't own, and that doesn't signify ownership. It doesn't. If you spend that amount of money on a chain that's going to lose value the minute you take it off your neck, how do you own anything? What, are you going to pass a chain down to your kids? Are you going to give a job through your chain? No. So there needs to be a serious shift. We need to stop thinking about how we look good. Stop caring about, oh, I need to impress this guy, impress this guy. You got broke people trying to impress broke people. That's pretty much what it is. A rat race to the top. A bunch of what they call in Nigeria packaging. Everybody's rich. Everybody looks rich. But in the end, what do we have? So there needs to be a shift. And for those that are feeling, oh, we need to feel, start a business. Get together, start a business, build ideas.